Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ralf Rangnick will be given a 100 million transfer budget in January. Rangnick wants Amadou Haidara at Manchester United. Amadou Haidara could replace Paul Pogba at Man United. Haidara has a £33 million release clause. Manchester United are set to scout Amadou Haidara. Rangnick knows the player well because before Rangnick coached RB Leipzig. Ralf Rangnick will not be in charge for the game against Arsenal tomorrow night. Reports said yesterday that Rangnick's move to Man United could be delayed until mid-December due to the work permit issues. Earlier on this week, Ralf Rangnick was announced as Manchester United's interim manager until the end of the season. Then after that, he will continue in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. Before Manchester United, he was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Manchester United will get a permanent manager at the end of the season. Now revert back to earlier on today. I give you the news on Roberto Mancini. It said Manchester United consider hiring Roberto Mancini instead of Mauricio Pochettino. Roberto Mancini is the coach of Italy. He's been the coach of Italy since 2018. He's got a contract with Italy until 2026. He won the European Championship with Italy last summer. A decade ago, Roberto Mancini managed Manchester City, and when he was the manager of Man City, he won the Premier League, he won the FA Cup, and he also won the Charity Shield. Pochettino, I have been talking with you a lot about him. I think he's still the favourite to become Manchester United's next permanent manager. Revert back to the other week, it said PSG rejected Manchester United's approach to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino came out and said that he's happy at PSG and he won't let the Man United rumours distract him. The other week though, it said Pochettino is interested in the Manchester United job. And the Manchester Evening News came out and said that Man United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettino as the next permanent manager. And he said, PSG were demanding a 10 million compensation fee for Pochettino. Man United agreed to pay the 10 million compensation fee. Revert back to when Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho. Manchester United should have got Pochettino then, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. Pochettino is a good manager, even though he's hardly won anything. I think he has won a cup with PSG. He's got a full season left on his PSG contract. Pochettino is proven in the Premier League because before he managed Tottenham, he endured a 5.5 year tenure with Tottenham, and before he managed Southampton. Erik ten Hag, he's been linked with the permanent role at Man United. He said not so long ago that Erik ten Hag is said to be interested in the Manchester United job in the summer, and Ajax will not stand in his way if he wants to leave at the end of the season. He said Erik ten Hag is Manchester United's alternative target to Pochettino. So if Man United can't get Pochettino, they'll try and get Erik ten Hag. You've got to admire what ten Hag has done at Ajax. He's done well. He's won a few trophies with them. He's been Ajax manager for 4 years and he's got a contract with Ajax until 2023. And I like the way he develops young players. Brendan Rodgers has been spoken about. Revert back to earlier on this season, it said Manchester United contacted Brendan Rodgers, but Brendan Rodgers dismissed the links to the Man United job. He come out and said that I'm proud to be at Leicester. But at one point, it said Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire, so that stirred some suggestions up, and at that point, it said Brendan Rodgers was the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. Manchester United sacked David Moyes, sacked Louis van Gaal, sacked Jose Mourinho, and just over a week ago, Manchester United sacked Solskjaer. I'm hoping under Ralf Rangnick we can get the best out of these group of players, because these very, very good players at Manchester United. We didn't seem to be getting the best out of the players under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But look who we've got. We've got a very good goalkeeper in David De Gea. De Gea deserves a lot of credit. De Gea has done really, really well so far this season. Did well in our last league game against Chelsea. He made some very good saves in the first half. He also did well in the game against Villarreal the other week. He made some world-class saves in that game. De Gea's been a long servant at Man United. This season is his 11th season at the club. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. De Gea's got under 2 years left on his contract and he receives £375,000 a week. De Gea has won everything domestically at the football club and he's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. He's made over 300 appearances in the Premier League. Revert back to last summer. De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back as he decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place, and De Gea did say that he was determined to fight for his Man United future. I think though when De Gea does eventually leave Man United, he will go back to Spain. The reasons I think that is because, De Gea began his footballing career in Spain. De Gea was born in Spain. His relatives are from Spain. I think his girlfriend's from Spain as well. So they are the reasons. And was it back in 2015? De Gea was very close to joining Real Madrid on deadline day, but due to the fax machine, his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise. You know, we've got Dean Henderson. That's also a good goalkeeper as well. Obviously, Dean Henderson is our second choice goalkeeper. Henderson doesn't get in goal now because, like I said, De Gea reclaimed that number one spot back last summer. Henderson's only been in goal for one game so far this season. That was West Ham in the Carabao Cup earlier on this season. Earlier on this season, Henderson was out with COVID-19 for a while. At one point last season, though, Henderson got that number one jersey. And he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. You know, his distribution was good and he made some very good saves. Revert back to the start of last season, Henderson committed his future to Man United because he signed a 5-year contract with the club with an option of a further year. Henderson's got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield and he's had other loan spells before. But Henderson will be going out on loan next year. He's confirmed that he wants to go out on loan. We've got Wan-Bissaka, that's a good right back defensively, but the attacking side of Wan-Bissaka's game is not so good. There's aspects of Bissaka's game that's got to improve. He's got to show more attacking intent. His positioning has to improve, and I think his crossing's got to improve a bit more. Bissaka played against Chelsea last Sunday. I thought he was poor, his positioning was poor. And Bissaka was the one that conceded the penalty because he fouled Thiago Silva in the 6-yard box. Silly penalty to give away. This season is Bissaka's 3rd full season at Man United. We got him for 50 million from Crystal Palace back in the summer of 2019. Eric Bailly, he's also a very, very good centre-half as well. Bailly's made 4 appearances so far this season. You know, Bailly played against Chelsea last Sunday. Well, you can say he only played because Maguire was suspended. He was good against Chelsea, was Bailly. Bailly played in the 2-0 defeat to Man City earlier on in the season. He was poor in that one. He played against Atalanta earlier on in the season. It was that 2-2 game he played in. Played well in that one. And he played well against West Ham in the Carabao Cup earlier on this season. I think Bailly should start tomorrow against Arsenal, even though Maguire is now back from suspension. I certainly prefer Maguire and Bailly than Maguire and Lindelof. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, though, didn't he? You know, with the signing of Varane last summer, and obviously Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. The element of concern about Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect is a liability. Towards the end of last season, Bailly signed a new contract to Man United till 2024. There's an option of a further year. Bailly's been at Manchester United for 5.5 years. Manchester United got Bailly from Villarreal back in 2016 for 30 million. We brought Bailly in under the Jose Mourinho era. And you've also got Varane. That's a very, very good centre-half as well. Did well in quite a few games before he got these injuries. He's had a couple of games though where he's looked off the pace. Varane is out with a hamstring injury at the moment. He's out for another week or 2, isn't he? His second injury he's endured at Man United, because revert back to earlier on this season, Varane had a groin injury and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. Varane to Man United was official just before kick-off against Leeds, which was the opening day. We got Varane for 34 million. Well, that's what Man United paid up front, but with add-ons included, it was around 41 million. Varane's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year. Harry Maguire, you know, he's a good centre-half when he wants to be, but he hasn't really proven how good he can be at Manchester United because he's been inconsistent in a lot of games for Man United. But there again, there's been some games where he's been consistent. I've got to say Maguire has been abysmal this season, and he's been even worse since he came back from that calf injury. Towards the end of last season, Maguire had ligament damage in his ankle. Like I said earlier on, Maguire just come back from suspension. You know, Maguire did get sent off in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Manchester United overpaid for Maguire, got him for 80 million, so he is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. You've got Luke Shaw, that's a good left-back overall, but Luke Shaw has certainly not proven how good he can be so far this season. Luke Shaw's been terrible this season, and I'm shocked in that aspect because revert back to last season, Luke Shaw was superb. He was far superior last season to how he has been so far this season. Well, Shaw's recently been out with a concussion, hasn't he? I'm not too sure if he's available for the game against Arsenal tomorrow. He's injury prone, is Shaw, which is a concern. I'm sure at some point this season Shaw will regain his form. Shaw's been at Manchester United for 7.5 years now, so he's been a long-serving player, and Shaw has got under 2 years left on his contract. You've also got Alex Telles, that's a decent left-back. Haven't had a great deal of a perception on him at United because he doesn't really play that much. You know, Telles only plays when Shaw's not available. Luke Shaw hasn't been available recently, so Telles has been playing. Telles has played in the last 2 games and he's done very, very well. You know, Telles did well against Chelsea. He also did well against Villarreal the other week. The reason Man United brought Telles in was to provide competition for Luke Shaw. Revert back to earlier on this season, he was out with injury, was Telles. Man United got Telles from Porto last year, got him in a deal worth 15.4 million with add-ons included. Paul Pogba, he's also a very, very good player as well. Pogba's not only a good player, he's an imperative player. Revert back to earlier on this season, Pogba did very, very well. So far this season, Pogba's got 7 assists in the Premier League. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season as well. Paul Pogba is not available at the moment, he's out with a thigh injury. He got the thigh injury in France training earlier on this season. I think Pogba is out for the rest of the year. Revert back to earlier on this season, he said Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Don't forget Pogba's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Revert back before the start of this season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract offer. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with Real Madrid. His former club Juventus have been in for him. He did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined Man United. PSG have been in for him before. Barcelona have been in for him before. And Inter Milan have been in for him before. Pogba's agent Mino Raiola has been working hard now for quite some time to get his client to move away from the football club. Pogba has won 3 trophies at Man United so far, and this season is Pogba's 6th season at Man United since he rejoined. Man United paid 89 million for him, so reflecting on that, he's our most expensive signing at the moment. And you've also got Donny van der Beek, that's a good player as well. Haven't had a great deal of a perception on him though at Man United because quite clearly Donny van der Beek has not been given enough opportunities. Revert back to when Man United had Solskjaer, you know, Van der Beek was very, very frustrated. Towards the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure, Van der Beek confirmed that he wants to leave in January, and there's still a good chance he'll leave now. Unless under Ralf Rangnick, Van der Beek gets the opportunities that he has been demanding. Van der Beek didn't start against Chelsea last Sunday, but he did come on. He started in that number 10 ahead of Fernandes in the game against Villarreal the other week, put a good performance out. Van der Beek came on in the 4-1 defeat to Watford and made an instant impact. He scored when he came on, and that's only his second goal for the club. Van der Beek's been at Manchester United for over a year and a half now. He's endured a difficult year and a half. This season is his second full season at Man United. Man United got Van der Beek for 40 million. With add-ons included. Van der Beek's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. You've also got Jadon Sancho. That's a good player. We are now getting the best out of Jadon Sancho, which is good news from a Man United perspective. Revert back to when we had Solskjaer, we was not getting the best out of Sancho. Because under Solskjaer, Sancho was played out of position. There was quite a few games Sancho didn't even play in under Solskjaer. Sancho scored in his last 2 games. Obviously scored against Chelsea last Sunday. His goal came from a mistake from Jorginho. It was a lovely counter-attacking goal by Sancho, and of course Sancho scored in the 2-0 win against Villarreal the other week. If Sancho continues with these good performances, Greenwood's going to find it hard to get in there. Manchester United got Sancho for 78 million with add-ons included. Man United paid around 73 million up front. Sancho's got a contract with the club till June 2026. There's an option of a further year. Mason Greenwood, he's a talented player as well. Greenwood hasn't been available in recent weeks because Greenwood was out with COVID-19. Greenwood has scored 4 goals in the league so far this season. He scored a stunning goal in the 4-2 defeat to Leicester earlier on this season. So, Greenwood scored 4 goals this season in the league. At one point, though, Greenwood did go a while without scoring. But Greenwood's been a revelation since he broke into our senior squad. He made his senior debut for Man United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, so he's been part of the club for a long time, and last season Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with the club. Manchester United have got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo's done really well since he's re-signed. He's scored 10 goals in all competitions so far, and he's provided 2 assists. Surprisingly, Ronaldo started on the bench against Chelsea last Sunday. He did come on in the game against Chelsea. I think Ronaldo will start tomorrow against Arsenal. I can't see him being put on the bench for the second game in a row. Ronaldo scored a good goal against Villarreal the other week. He chipped it over the Villarreal goalkeeper, but Ronaldo's goal came from a poor clearance from the Villarreal goalkeeper. Ronaldo has got back-to-back awards since he re-signed for the club as well. He got named Player of the Month for October, and revert back to September, he got named Premier League Player of the Month. Ronaldo has won 32 major trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. He's got a contract with Man United until 2023. There's an option of a further year. Ronaldo receives 480 grand a week. So he's the highest earner at Man United. He wears that number 7 shirt, and we got Ronaldo, was it for 20 million or just under 20 million pounds? That was obviously add-ons included. And you've got Marcus Rashford. That's also a good player as well. Rashford started up top alongside Sancho last Sunday against Chelsea. Rashford was poor in the first half, but I thought he was much better in the second half, and Rashford made an impact when he came on against Villarreal the other week. He had a good chance from a tight angle, produced a good save from the Villarreal goalkeeper. Don't forget, at one point, Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point, Rashford had to have an operation on his shoulder. Rashford has been part of the club for a long time. He's been a United player since the age of 7. He risen up our academy and that. He's been in our senior squad since 2016. Rashford's got a contract with Man United until 2023. Edinson Cavani, he's also very, very good as well, but he initially lost his place in the team, obviously with the club re-signing Ronaldo last summer. Cavani's not available at the moment anyway, he's out with injury. Cavani had an injury earlier on this season. I do think Cavani's leaving next year, unfortunately. Man United got Cavani on a free transfer from PSG. This season is his second full season at the club. Cavani has got under a year left on his Man United contract. And we've also got Bruno Fernandes, that's an exceptional player as well. But despite him being an exceptional player, he's had his poor games this season. So there you go. Manchester United have got good players. There's also inconsistent players as well at Man United. I don't think, Lindelof is good enough to represent the club. I want us to offload him next year, but I don't think we're going to. He's going to stay for at least another season, is Lindelof. Lindelof plays on a regular basis. He's had his good games at Man United, don't get me wrong, but I'll always have my reservations about him. Man United got Lindelof from Benfica back in 2017 for £31 million. So Lindelof's been at the club now for like 4.5 years. Obviously Jones, he's not good enough to represent the club. Well, Jones doesn't get in the team anyway, but Jones, even when he got in the team, was always inconsistent. Did you know Jones is the only outfield player that's still with us from the Ferguson era? This season is his 11th season at Man United, so he has been a long servant. Matic, I don't think he's good enough to represent the club either, even though he has had his good games at Man United. Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, Matic still seems to get his opportunities, and surprisingly enough, he's been ahead of Van der Beek in our midfield. Matic is the only predominant centre defensive midfielder we've got. Matic played last week against Chelsea. Obviously, that was against his former club. He was playing alongside Fred and McTominay. Matic has been at Man United for 4.5 years. Man United got Matic for 40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Fred, he's not good enough to represent the club either, but I thought Fred played very well in the second half against Chelsea last Sunday, and he squandered a chance that came from that mistake from Mendy. Manchester United overpaid for Fred though, got him for like 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. McTominay, I don't think he's good enough to represent the club either. Fred and McTominay do play a lot of games together. They used to play a lot of games together under the Solskjaer era, and at the time, a lot of United fans had a go at Solskjaer for persistently selecting Fred and McTominay. Lingard is another one that's not good enough to represent the club. Lingard doesn't get in the team anyway, does he? Lingard's only started one game this season. That was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. Revert back to the other week. It said Lingard's future at Man United is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. Lingard's contract at Man United expires next summer. Said not so long ago he could leave for just £10 million. And Martial, you know, he's not good enough to represent the club either. Martial doesn't really get in the team anyway. I think he's leaving Man United next year. And obviously Shaw and Maguire have not been good enough this season, but I am convinced that they'll regain their form. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.